The NFL is a multi-billion-dollar business, and these guys will do whatever it takes to win, even if it means breaking the rules by making your hands a little sticky. And these are times NFL players were caught cheating. Let's kick things off with Chad Ochocinco, who made a catch near the sidelines for a first down against the Ravens. But the Ravens thought he was out of bounds when he caught it, so they challenged the call. And good old Ochocinco thought, maybe if I give the ref some cash, he'll say I caught the ball in bounds. So he started waving a $1 bill in the ref's face. The ref waved and shooed him away and proceeded to reverse the call on the field, taking the catch away from Ochocinco. After the game, Ochocinco was fined $20,000. Did he really think that was going to work? I mean, waving a $1 bill in his face? Where did he think he was? A rundown 40-plus strip joint on the old side of Las Vegas? Come on. Or you could try being a little more discreet like Malik Johnson. The 49ers marched the ball all the way down to the Eagles' 1-yard line where the ref placed the ball. But after the placement, Malik Jackson gave the ball a teeny little kick to give his team a little more breathing room. Somehow, no one noticed. Not the refs, not the other team, no one. Well, besides the cameras, of course. Either way, it was a cute attempt at cheating, but the 49ers plowed over him anyway and still scored the touchdown. Ain't karma a In 2012, the Chargers weren't nudging balls, but they still managed to get sticky. That's right, the Chargers found themselves in a sticky situation when they were illegally rubbing a sticky substance all over themselves to get a good grip on their balls. And once they got busted, it didn't provide them a sense of relief. Quite the contrary. Turns out one of their equipment managers was bringing sticky towels to the game and the players were wiping that stuff all over themselves. Ew, have some dignity, guys. After getting caught, the team got fined $20,000. I wonder how the equipment manager got those towels so sticky. Maybe we're better off not knowing. Is it possible he was alone, all horny like Ray Lewis? Or should I say antler like Ray Lewis? Ray Lewis was one of the baddest linebackers to ever play, and in his last season in the NFL, he was ready to make one last push for a Super Bowl. Wouldn't that be a storybook ending? Unfortunately, the tale took a massive shift when Ray tore the crap out of his tricep. I mean, he basically turned his arm into hamburger meat, and doctors thought at his age there was no way he could recover in time for the playoffs. But Ray is a pretty tough guy, and he's determined too. So he looked for any doctor that could help him get back on the field before hanging the old cleats up for good. And as we know, he did. Somehow against the odds, Ray managed to make a return with a giant cast over his arm and played in the Super Bowl where he heroically helped his team win and retired with a second Lombardi trophy. Now that is a storybook ending. Unfortunately, we're not done here. Some dude named Mitch Ross claimed that Ray bought some spray made from concentrated deer antler. He was getting bucked up on deer antler? It might sound like some crazy voodoo crap, but the truth is deer antler spray contains a human growth hormone called IGF-1 that is banned by the NFL. Ray denied the claims, but who knows? Maybe this guy is a bucking cheater. Ray Lewis wasn't the first one to try to pull a fast one in the NFL though, nor was he the last. Brian Cushing was a darn good linebacker as well for the Houston Texans. In 2009, he was voted as a Pro Bowler, but it turns out he was a professional cheater. In 2010, he was busted for using steroids. He was suspended for 4 games, but the biggest question for Texans fans was whether or not this guy would be good anymore once he was off the super juice. Turns out he was. Cushing continued his solid play, earning a massive 6-year contract extension worth almost $60 million from Houston. But maybe he wasn't actually off the stuff, because in 2017 he was busted again, and this time the NFL suspended him for 10 games. Dude, lay off the gym candy. We can see your impending mood swings and heart problems from here. Sheesh. When so many guys are busted for cheating, how can you ever know who to trust? Well guys, you can definitely trust me. I ain't cheating, and I never will. So if you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, we can play by the rules together. Unlike DeAndre Hopkins, because he was caught with his hands in the cookie jar too. Or should I say, the steroid jar. DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best receivers in Texans history, but after getting traded to Arizona, he also tested positive for steroids. After getting busted, he claimed that he had no clue how it happened. Okay, sure pal. You don't remember getting injected in the butt with a needle and then have superhero-like strength instantly? That's how it works. Right? Either way, he was suspended by the NFL for 6 games for his offense. It can't be easy to stop top-notch wideouts like D-Hop, especially when they are getting juiced up on all sorts of crazy stuff. How are corners expected to contain these guys? Well, Patrick Peterson thought the best way was to join the party. Patrick Peterson had a reputation for being one of the most dominant lockdown defenders in the NFL, but it turned out he was cheating too. Patrick Peterson tested positive for steroids, which earned him a suspension without pay. But Peterson thought he could beat the system. Peter wasn't just doing steroids, he was also trying to use a substance that makes steroids not show up in drug tests. Sounds smart in theory, until you get busted for using that too, which earned him an even longer suspension. Cheating is straight up inexcusable, but how can you expect the players not to cheat when the coaches are cheating too, like Mike Tomlin? Sometimes competition can get the best of you, and that clearly happened to Mike Tomlin, the Steelers' head coach, when his team was playing against the Ravens. Ravens returner Jacoby Jones was off to the races for a touchdown, but Tomlin was like, "No!" The coach stepped on the field right in Jones' way and forced him to change directions. After losing momentum, Jacoby Jones was tackled and did not score. Tomlin was fined $100,000 after the game for cheating, but he claimed the whole thing was an accident and that he just lost track of where he was. What a bunch of bullcrap. The only thing I hate more than a cheater is someone that lies about it after getting caught. But as outrageous as Tomlin's tactic was, believe it or not, he's not the only coach to ever step on the field to try to make a play. When the Dolphins were playing the Jets, a special teams player named Nolan Carroll was innocently running down the sidelines trying to make a play for his team. I guess the Jets conditioning coach Sal Alosi thought he could be sneaky and give his team an edge. So he stuck out his leg and tripped Carroll going at full speed. The dude went flying and hurt himself pretty bad. Needless to say, Alosi was suspended for cheating, and was pretty embarrassed too. I'd feel bad for the Dolphins if they weren't busted for cheating too. The Dolphins weren't always as good as they are now. In fact, they sucked for so long that their owner Stephen Ross started doing some shady stuff in order to improve his team. While Tom Brady was still under contract with the Patriots, Ross was trying to persuade him to move to Miami when his contract expired. But he also wanted a coach capable of turning his team around too. So he did the same thing with Sean Payton when he was coaching the Saints. According to NFL rules, that's a big no-no. And when he got busted, he was fined $1.5 million, and the Dolphins lost their 2023 first-round pick and their 2024 third-round pick. In retrospect, it's not surprising that the Dolphins were going after Sean Payton and Tom Brady, cause those guys are crafty cheaters too. Let's start with Sean Payton, who was coaching the Saints when they got busted for cheating in an absolutely filthy way. In 2009, the New Orleans Saints pulled off one of the most dangerous cheating operations in sports history. The operation was started by their defensive coordinator, Greg Williams. He started a program within the team where they would pull together cash and pay their players performance-based bonuses that weren't in their contract. They call these bonuses bounties, and bounties are illegal. But what was worse was the type of plays being rewarded by the Saints' defense. For example, if a player injured an opponent so severely that they were carted off the field on a stretcher, it would earn them a $1,000 bonus. Say what? But it got even crazier. If a player knocked a player unconscious on the field, they received $15,000. Their poor opponents were trying to play by the rules while the Saints were trying to blow their brains out. That's screwed up, but $15,000 is a lot of money. If you offer me $15,000, I might just knock myself out if you ask me to. Either way, the Saints might have gotten away with the whole thing too, if it weren't for that meddling Mike Cerullo. Cerullo was an assistant coach that they fired for lying about a personal leave of absence that he took with the team. And after he got fired, he ratted his team out to the NFL. Some pretty big-time punishments were handed out, and today, the scandal is famously remembered as Bountygate. I guess that's one way to stop an offense, but it's not the only, shall we say, creative attempt that the Saints have resorted to when it comes to slowing down their opponents. Back before the whole Bountygate scandal, the Saints secretly brought a whistle onto the sidelines, and they had someone blowing it to confuse the Titans. Every time the Titans heard a they'd slow down and the Saints would run all over them. Very cheeky, fellas. But whatever happened to integrity? I guess I'm old school, so I don't have high-tech cheating gadgets like the New York Giants did. Ben McAdoo used to coach the Giants, and in the middle of a drive, his headset apparently stopped working. Yeah, I've heard that one before. So he was handed a walkie-talkie to keep communication flowing. Well, that's illegal, Ben, and you should probably know that. So give the gadget back to security and worry about running some damn plays, you numbskull. And how about that time the Giants started dropping like dead flies on national television? During Monday Night Football, the Rams were playing the Giants, and the Rams offense was steamrolling down the field in a hurry. So a couple Giants defenders started collapsing on the field pretending they were hurt, and it worked. The refs had to keep stopping the clock due to player safety rules, and the Giants were allowed to get the right players on the field to try to stop the Rams' offensive attack. If it works, it works. And the Giants defenders weren't the only ones to report to faking injuries in order to win. Sometimes questionable calls are made on the football field. I mean, as we know, refs make mistakes all the time. Sometimes they make calls so bad you'd think they were blind as bats. So when the Raiders were awarded a completion that they probably didn't deserve, they started rushing to the line as fast as they could so the Broncos wouldn't have time to challenge the play. And Von Miller wasn't about to let that happen. He dropped on the field and pretended to start cramping up so the refs had to stop the clock and attend to him. The tactic gave the Broncos more than enough time to view multiple angles of the previous play and then decide to challenge it. And guess what? They won the challenge. Big surprise. Von Miller wasn't the only cheater to act fast on the field. In fact, one time the Ravens coaching staff accidentally let their secret playbook fly onto the field. And when Tre'Davious White, a Bills corner, noticed, he raced over to start studying it as quickly as he could. The refs took it away quickly, but White definitely got a decent little glance at it first. White must have been a hell of a student, because he uses his study time effectively. Learning your opponent's playbook would definitely bring an advantage, but the Broncos took spying to another level. The Broncos had a scandalous video-related situation of their own, and it was far from sexy. Back when they were playing in London against the 49ers, their head coach Josh McDaniels got someone named Steve Scarnecchia to videotape the 49ers while they were practicing. And when he got caught, the Broncos fired him immediately. Josh McDaniels claimed that he never told Steve Scarnecchia to do it, and that he never watched the videos. But we know he's lying, because McDaniels voted for the Patriots before he got hired by the Broncos, and those guys are notorious for being the biggest cheaters in the league. The Patriots have sure won a lot of Super Bowls, but they've also been caught cheating their fair share of times as well. For example, one-time Jets coach Eric Mangini caught them spying on his team, so he demanded that the NFL do a full investigation of the Patriots. And it turns out that the amount of cheating the Pats were doing was on a whole other level. There was proof that the Patriots had not just been spying on the Jets, but had also taped 40 opponents over the span of 7 years. And it wasn't just video cameras. They pulled off crazy heists like hiring people to break into opposing teams' locker rooms and steal their playbooks. But what the NFL found might have even been worse than that. Word has it that instead of telling the public what they found when they were going through the Patriots videos, the NFL destroyed the evidence so it couldn't be seen. What do you think was on those tapes? Naked videos of Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft doing the hokey pokey? I guess we'll never know. But what we do know is that it's not the only time the Pats were caught cheating. In the 2014 AFC Championship game, the Colts realized that there was something peculiar about Tom Brady's balls. They didn't look like balls at all. Instead, they resembled flapjacks. So the Colts got the referees to stop the game and look at Brady's balls. And as it turns out, Brady's balls were deflated beyond NFL regulation. And it was no accident. Weather couldn't have gotten Brady's balls this flat. He did it on purpose and got suspended for it too. The Pats might just be more famous for cheating because it allowed them to win. No one cares about the Panthers' balls, even if they were doing some weird stuff with theirs as well. The Panthers were playing against the Vikings in a freezing game in Minnesota. And while the Bikes were abiding by the rules, the Panthers were heating up their balls like marshmallows at a campfire. They had their ball boys walking around with heaters getting those things all nice and toasty so they'd be easier to grip. Sounds kinky, but also illegal. And there you have it. Those were NFL players caught cheating. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a big fat thumbs up and subscribe to DropKick. And if you want to check out more of my videos, click on one of the videos currently on your screen. Thanks for watching and see you next time.